Today's guest is Oliver Dew from Lumen, a cloud PDF editor and e-signature platform used by a global audience. Lumen has been leaning hard into AI. They've got an AI PDF summarizer, they've got an integration with Google Workspace, plus the new AgreementGen, an AI drafting assistant for contracts. Very exciting updates in this space, and I'm very keen to learn more. Let's welcome Oliver Dew to ROI from AI.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Brad, for introducing me, and it's great to be here and talk to you about the wonderful world of AI. Looking forward to it.
My pleasure. So Lumen has quite a lot of different capabilities. I would love to know, how did Lumen originate? Was it like one simple idea, or was the idea from the outset having this full suite of capability?
Yeah, it's a great question. So our co-founder Max actually started Lumen in his dorm room when he was studying in Stanford, and basically he was a civil engineer, and he was just tired and frustrated with the typical PDF editing tools, and thought there must be an easier way. And from right from the start, really wanted to be integrated with Google and in the Google Workspace. He could see where it was going and where the potential was. And so, yeah, he's just tried to really build a tool that's simple and easy to use and gets the job done. And along the way, we've picked up, well, not picked up, created Lumen Sign, now AgreementGen, which I'm really excited to talk to you about today.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the rundown.
Well, PDFs are just one of those things that basically anyone with a computer will interact with at some point in time. And I'm sure there's a lot of frustrations. I know myself with PDFs and signing contracts and downloading different files, it's always been a bit of a mess. But with Lumen, there's AI directly inside the PDF editor versus AI as a separate assistant. So there's this coalescence between the two. What's the product thesis for putting AI directly inside the PDF editor versus keeping AI as a separate assistant?
Well, with the PDF editor, so we're really intentional with our AI use and adoption. Uh, AI's, I'm sure you're aware, has been on this sort of big buzz and hype train, and everyone's trying to integrate AI into all of their products, and seen it with lots of our competitors. And so we thought, obviously a summary tool is really useful for our users, but how else can we implement this in a way that is actually beneficial and bringing value to the people who are using it? How can we save them time? So that's what we've really tried to do, along with the summary tool, is implement it in a way that actually is really beneficial and practical.
Yeah, so there's a big focus on productivity there. And as you would have mentioned just before with Agreement Gen, that's productivity, but also creation. You're creating these contracts and agreements. What were some of the guardrails that you put in place to make sure that this was a very sound feature with quality that users come to expect from AI?
Yeah. So I think the big thing with Agreement Gen is we straight out of the bat, we're not trying to replace your lawyer. But how I always say to customers is, if we can maybe reduce some of those billable hours that you're, spending with your attorney, and doing some of the heavy lifting yourself, then, why not use a tool like Agreement Gen to sort of to give you a good starting point. Um, in terms of, security and how we've built it, it's based off the Gemini platform. However, we're a separate, um, you know, a separate model, and we don't train our model on any user data that's put in there. So that whatever you put in there is just between you and the bot, and it won't be, using to train the larger model.
Hmm, interesting.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
would love to see this in action. It's all very theoretical to me as someone that kind of avoids PDFs. So, are you able to show us Agreement Gen and how it operates?
Yeah, sure. I can show you right now. Yeah. So we come over to I'm sure you and plenty of users are sort of aware of what an LLM sort of prompt looks like, but this is our place where you can give it your prompt, or we have some suggestions here along with importing content from an existing PDF. So, if you've already got a agreement that you like or use often, you can just put that in there, and it will pull through the content, not necessarily the formatting, but the content of the PDF will pull through. But for this case, I'm just going to copy in a um, prompt basically for, I've used SMECAI as sort of like the customer and Lumen PDF as the provider. And it's just going to be a sort of general uh, agreement between the two of us. We just go generate. Now, what I really like about how we've built AgreementGen is you're able to edit and make changes to the actual text that the LLM generates. So, ChatGPT or Claude, for example, it's a very like communicative approach where you ask it a question, it gives you an answer. You ask it another question, it gives you an answer. But what we've actually done with this is you can still do that, obviously, but you can actually go through and make changes. So if I just wanted to get rid of this, I can just do that.
Hmm.
And that'll carry through. So if we make more changes or prompt it to do something, that just carries on through. So you can see it's given us what it thinks is needed and that agreement between Lumen and SMECAI, just sort of general services provided or whatever. But if you want to add some more content to that, you can either do that directly in or you could just prompt it. So let's do one of the suggested ones. Can you add a clause for data privacy and security? And it'll figure all that out. And you can see in the blue, it's throwing that in there.
Oh, you can make edits on the fly, but then you can also use the prompt to actually do
Yeah.
something a bit more specified. And yeah, the productivity increase there is huge.
Yeah.
It's instant as well. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's so good. And while we're talking productivity, you'll notice some of these fields that are coming in the yellow. These are already been filled in, but these sort of yellow with this kind of squiggly brackets. This is like a very fresh release. This is maybe a week or two old, but it's our variables feature. And so you'll see these areas here. So if we go up to the top, for example, we've got contract effective date. We can put that date in there either through this part here or in the custom section, and it will repeat that throughout the contract. So you can imagine if you've got a long contract that, I don't know, say it's a employment agreement and you need to send this out to hundreds of employees. Well, you can just put their name in here and it'll carry it through for the rest of the document. It's kind of like a command find or control find, um, and it just speeds it up a bit. So, we can put the date, I don't know, 14th of the 11th, 2012, 25,
Mm.
and that'll go through the rest of the document and put that in. So, yeah, it's really just trying to think about how can we make this faster and more effective for our customers.
Yeah, amazing. And then if
Mm.
you create this original document, are you then able to use that as a template for other documents and do things like change language or change certain terms at a click?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of those features we'd love to have. We don't quite have the ability with our agreement gen to change language just yet, but it's saying on the roadmap. But if we're wanting to send this out for signature, we can do that and that'll go through Lumen Sign, or we can save this directly with Lumen PDF and make more in-depth changes basically on the PDF editor.
How have you user tested this? Are you in talks with people that are in the field, or is it more like internal testing? How do you figure out the nuts and bolts?
Yeah, so it's a combination of both. Plus, it's available for beta at the moment, so anyone can go and jump on and just have a go drafting your contracts. And yeah, we've seen quite positive traction with people using Agreement Gen.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm guessing the main metric for success is productivity and time saving, or are there other ways to measure the success of Agreement Gen?
Um, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose it would be productivity and and time saving. Like I said, yeah, we're still trying to work out the nuts and bolts, but yeah, I think we're just happy people are using it and giving us good feedback.
Yeah, amazing. Well,
Mm.
I need to get some contracts written. I feel like I need a business where I can actually start writing contracts and then
Yeah,
use
I
it,
know.
because when I've done freelance work, I've just written my own Google Doc and
Yeah.
it's always a mess. And then I forget things and I need to highlight, like everything's so manual. But yeah, this is such a huge time saving. So something that people outside of the legal professions, I feel like could get a lot of use out of as well.
Oh, well, that's exactly it. And like I said, if you've got saying, say, yeah, you need saying to draft a document up, and you still want that lawyer to have a look over and give the seal of approval, but if you can get, I don't know, a bit of time saving on that, then that's so positive for you know just normal customers, but also small to medium businesses, and that's really what we aim to provide value for is those companies that you know. Time is short and money's even shorter. Let's make it stretch farther.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've also got this integration with Google Workspace, which I'm sure is also very useful. Gives you a really big distribution. There's audience trust in Google. It's a very well-known name, of course. Was it important to partner with something like Google? And how important is it? Is there a downside? How did that relationship come to fruition?
Yeah, so, like I said before, Max is our CEO and founder, has always valued, the Google Workspace and really wanted to partner with them pretty early on. We could sort of see, you know, the legacy services like, Microsoft 365 and whatnot, uh, sort of users going away from them and moving more towards the Google Workspace. It's just such a unified and easy platform to jump on for a lot of people. Um, and so, yeah, trying to integrate really well with them and, yeah, work sort of quite nicely. We do still, like, partner with, Microsoft as well, so you can do very similar functionality with OneDrive. There's just a few extra steps involved when it comes to saving documents back to your drive, but, yeah.
Well, it's exciting. There's
Mm.
so many different features that Lumen has, but I'd love to zoom out and sort of see where you're at with the next few years at Lumen and other features that you're working on. If there's anything you feel like you could reveal, I'd love to know, yeah, how you're going to forecast your future with some more product updates.
Yeah, I guess trying to really optimize AgreementGen so that it's actually a really beneficial, uh, tool for a lot of people and those businesses to use. And then, I guess really having our PDF product and Sign and AgreementGen sort of all integrated with one sort of easy to use platform. At the moment, although it's a click away, it's still a level of fragmentation. So being able to bring those all together and provide really good solutions for all of our customers and clients is pretty key. Um,
Mm.
and with our PDF tool, we've sort of integrated, not integrated. We've brought out AI to uh, be able to change and yeah, make changes and edits to those documents via prompting. And so I can show you very shortly how that sort of looks and how that works. But I guess trying to scale that to a way that instead of having to prompt one document, you could prompt, I don't know, 1,000 documents and really just uh, reducing that time spent for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure there's that
Mm.
sense of agility with not only AI evolving really fast, but our ability to interact with AI, and we're kind of learning alongside with it, especially with language models. People are getting a lot more crafty with being able to create prompts that will get them more specific results. So, how do you see this space evolving, not only just from a technological standpoint, but from how we interact with AI, especially with something so common like PDFs?
You're so right. How we interact with them now is these sort of language models and these chat models, but we're seeing, video creation and music creation and all these sort of other creative avenues sort of being involved and taken over with AI. And I think how here at Lumen we see is okay, the LLMs and the chat models are so important, but how can we implement those features with AI to do more than that, to do more than just summarize a document, but to actually like interact and change the documents themselves.
Mm.
Mm.
Have you seen any struggles with adoption and people's reticence to AI, or
Yeah.
maybe they don't have the technical skills to really integrate it into their workflow? Yeah, what are some of the struggles you're seeing with people actually adopting AI into their everyday life?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's always going to be uh, with any new sort of technology, there's always going to be levels of people sort of not willing to adopt or change. Um, yeah, and definitely see that all the time. Actually, had an argument, well, a friendly debate with a friend who, he's an engineer. He's been an engineer for years, and he's saying, "Oh, well, it can't replace me. It can't. It still makes mistakes." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not for long." Is kind of how I say. Um, Not for long. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it's like the internet, really. In the 2000s, everyone was not willing to jump on board or taking too long to get on board, and now you'd be hard pressed to find a business that doesn't at least have a website. And it's how I see AI. You'll be hard pressed to find a business that doesn't have AI to some level woven into it.
I think we'll find as well with productivity being the main theme of this podcast, at least when it comes to AI. if people are able to save time and the menial, laborious tasks are taken from AI, we'll actually be able to be more human. We'll have more free time, more space for creativity. So I think once people wake up to that sort of idea, it's really going to explode. It's not always the generative slop that you see on TikTok and Instagram. That's we're all plugged into the matrix. I think it's a lot wider than that. And the work that you're doing at Lumen, I think, is a real piece of that puzzle. It's something that we interact with every single day. We're saving minutes to hours, and that will have the impact not only on business but on ourselves as people. So there is that human element to AI, I
Mm,
would think.
yeah. I'd love to show you quickly just sort of the PDF tool and
Mm.
how AI is making big changes to that. So I've just shared my screen if you can see this document, for example, just a generic form that I've got, one of our templates. Going over to our AI assistant here, being able to prompt, again, we'll use one of the suggestions, redact all sensitive information. And simply just prompting that will go through the document and redact all the areas that it thinks is sensitive information. And so currently with this tool, we have redaction, highlight, underline, sort of the basic tools available. Yeah, you can
Mm.
see there. Since we actually don't have any names, it hasn't picked the names up, but phone number, email address, and you just click apply and it will go through. And sort of, you can imagine doing this at scale, right? So we're very like single focus here looking at one document, but if I'm, I don't know, an office admin assistant or something, and I've been tasked, hey, go redact thousands of contracts, instead of taking the better part of a year, maybe just typing into a prompt, please go through and redact all customer phone numbers or customer emails, and instantaneously having that sorted. Yeah, it's really where I see this sort of going.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then all these prompts, you can easily go back as well. Can you just go Control Z, so to speak, and it's
Not with redaction.
okay.
So I should have maybe shown you highlight. Redaction
Oh,
is one
okay.
of the tools that we it's once it's redacted, like it's gone. It's a
Yeah.
security thing. So, but yeah, with highlight, we definitely could have just gone Command Z, and that would get rid of the highlight or the underline or whatnot.
Yeah, amazing. No, it's incredible. I just want to get a document and play with it now. Like it's a cool feature, and learning how to give the best prompts, because even there's some subjectivity in words like sensitive, and you've obviously trained the model to speak this sort of contractual language. So yeah, I think the future's looking bright. But one question I do ask every single guest, this is a business podcast, what would be your biggest tip for a return on investment using AI? Besides Lumen's PDF capabilities.
I would say like looking at a business and going, what is costing me lots of money and what is costing me lots of time. Because those are you can make money back obviously, but your time is tough to get. It's impossible to get back. And so really looking at business and going, what's costing me time? What's costing me money? How can I reduce that? And I think a great tool like Lumen or AgreementGen, if you're spending money and time on those sort of more laborious tasks or, spending fees with lawyers or attorneys, if we can sort of reduce that and really maximize that, then that, I don't know, business plan you've got with Lumen sort of pays itself off pretty quickly.
Yeah, you almost wanna look at it pragmatically and literally write
Yeah.
down what your hours are, how much time you spend on certain things, going through that itemized list, looking at the thing that takes the most time and money, and
Mm.
doing a simple Google search. It could be,
Yeah.
how do I spend less on materials, or how do I save more time editing documents? So yeah, that kind of like fine tooth comb over the work that you do, I think will highlight some of the problem areas.
Yeah, 100%. And no, not just Lumen, but there is so many products out there that AI-based products that do all sorts of different tasks. Um, Bit of a shameless plug, but we use Grow AI, which is GRW, and it's a sales-based tool basically, and just helps so much. You can practice cold calling, and it's still a bit of a robotic voice, but it's getting pretty close to being like an actual person.
Mm.
And again, if you think about training a sales rep, you're usually getting your AE, your account executive, who should be focusing on closing deals and moving pipeline along. You're getting that person and trying to train up a sales rep, and that might involve actually making cold calls. If you're paying the AE a salary, that's a lot of money that you're spending trying to train an SDR. when you can get them on a program like Grow, it's kind of a no-brainer. It pays for itself pretty quickly.
Oh, for sure. And it democratizes small to medium businesses, I feel, where usually you'd have to outsource or you'd have to pay someone, like you said. So it makes these features so much more accessible. So I'm excited for the next 5 to 10 years. I think we'll see a lot of these small to medium businesses really grow at scale because they're able to be more productive. It's democratized, accessible. Lumen is part of that. It's also just, yeah, it's kind of like a rags to riches story, I feel like you could say, especially in Australia where the AI industry is still evolving and emerging. So you should be super proud of the work that you're doing. I'm very excited to see where Lumen goes in the next 5 to 10 years. But Oliver, I thank you for your time and joining me on ROI from AI.
Great. Thanks so much, Brad. Thanks for having me.